Hey everybody, this is So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
Welcome to a brand new week here on So Many Sequels. That was David, if you're listening to the podcast version. You didn't see the video. He's a little bit of a frog today. What's the deal here, David? How are you gonna do this?
I don't know, just kind of lost my voice this week and didn't really do anything
Yeah.
that seemed to cause it. But yeah, so I'm going to keep my statements as short and simple as I can this week. That's it.
We'll see if you
Just lost my voice.
We'll see if you're actually capable of doing that, even under duress.
Oh, man. It's tough.
But, you know, after last week, where there was quite a bit of big movie news with San Diego Comic-Con and all that, kind of a slow week this week. Not much going on. I didn't go out to any new movies, but I did go see Deadpool 2 again. My brother wanted to go, so I took him. His first time, my second time. And it was interesting because the second weekend crowd, it was still pretty full, but way different. They don't get all the jokes, I noticed. Like, there's some jokes that just were met with flatness. And I'm not even saying that as, like, a critique. I'm just saying, like, some of them, they just didn't get it, clearly. And I think that's because the mega fans go out to the first weekend. So it's always fun to watch a second weekend where some of the normies are there. But it was still a good time. People seemed to enjoy it. I still thought, my thoughts on it didn't really change much from our discussion last week. It still just kind of like was adequate for me. I think if anything, I could say that I see it even more as a finale to the Fox Marvel universe. That I still qualify it as a Fox movie. It's it doesn't even feel like a Marvel movie still. And so when I went, okay, let's pretend like Fox made this. Oh, I like it better now, kind of thing. Just because their bar is lower, and that's like cheating my brain to make it work. But I saw it kind of better that way once I reminded myself, I said I don't like these characters for the most part, the Fox ones. So all things considered, yeah, it was fine again. That's my cold Deadpool 2 take. I don't have one of the internet's hot ones. Everybody's all over it.
What did your brother think?
He liked it. He said it was really funny. He was familiar with some of the characters that are featured in the movie. I'm still not going to say them, even though, like, clearly the spoiler window has been lifted because I'm seeing, like, headlines just, like, stating it.
Sure.
So it appears we've given up, but he was like, yeah, I knew some of them, but I haven't really seen those movies, so I didn't know a lot of it. But he thought it was funny the way that it was, like, self-referential about Marvel and Fox and the MCU overall. He thought that stuff was fun. So yeah, he liked it.
I think I like your idea of it being like a send-off for the Fox universe because I think that is a more accurate representation. There's been, off mic, we've had different conversations with us and some of the people in our Discord and our friends, and it's been interesting to get their opinions. But I've heard consistently people talk about Kevin Feige say this was going to like shake up the whole Marvel universe, and I know that that's his job to say that stuff. But
it is
right. It didn't. I mean, yes, there was a crossover, if you will, but it wasn't anything that was like, whoa.
He's the boy who
if
cried
they
multiverse.
really wanted to hit that wow factor and really make it feel like it was going to shake up the universe, they could have, because of X-Men and them being, for the first time, crossing over with some people. They just, I don't know, they didn't do it. And so it was kind of a letdown as far as that. But if you're watching the Fox go to a close and then you get that crossover, then it's like, oh, yes, my characters survive in some way, shape, or form. They're not meeting their end. So I do think that would be a fun way to observe it. And I think that's kind of what we talked about. Like, if it's a bit of fan service. And so if you are a fan of those and grew up with those, it hit harder for them than it did us based on, again, some conversations that we've had.
Yeah, I mean, I keep seeing reaction online from people who are, like, really reacting to the Green Day montage during the credits as like, wow, that was my childhood. It was so cool seeing all that. And I reacted to that like stone cold. Like, I was like, That's nice. I actually laughed at first because I thought it was funny. I thought it was a joke that they used the Green Day song, and then I realized I think it was actually sentimental on purpose, and I felt bad.
I think it was, yeah, I think I took it as kind of a situation where it's both,
Yeah.
because I also kind of like laughed at first because I thought, oh, we're being sentimental about the Fox 20th Century X-Men franchise because it was sort of so messy and up and down. But then as it started to keep going on and you got to see these kind of nice tender moments between young Hugh Jackman and was it Rebecca Romaine and Chris Evans as a Fantastic Four member back then and things like that. I was like, oh man, this actually is
Yeah.
making me feel like
And
all sentimental about when I was 14 years old.
you got young Ryan in there as the Deadpool, not to be discussed, the horrible version of it, and talking about how he hopes he can play him for real one day. Those are cool clips. But at no point was I like, wow, I have sentimental connection to these movies from growing up. I just didn't. So I'm like, yep, part of this audience. I'm just not. Can't do it. But anyway,
We are part of the Twisters audience if we want to talk about some new stuff, because
Yeah.
I'm personally excited about that. Twisters and Twister.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm reading right?
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
both
yeah.
going to be in 40X theaters
Yeah,
starting on August
yeah,
30th?
yeah.
As like a double feature?
Not well. I think actually, kind of, because from what I understood in the article, it is going to be alternating screenings, so you could double feature it.
Man, I tell you what, if you do those back to back, you're going to have to walk out with like a cane because your back will be hurt.
I want to do it. I need to see where it can be done.
A couple here.
And I know our Cinemark, not to name interrupt them, I guess, isn't 4DX technically. They're just called D-Box, and that feels like a ripoff, and I don't know.
Interesting.
I need to look into it. And then apparently there's that one in the Star World one, and it has one, I think. And I think it might be a
Okay.
real one. But I also don't know.
Could also play some. We're going to talk about box office here in a little bit, but I think that could play a fun factor into next week's box office or whenever they do this to see based on what else has come out at that point in time. But I think that could give it a little bit of a boost because I think people will be like, I've seen it.
Exactly.
Well, 48X tickets usually are a little more.
They are. I was just going to
Yes.
say, part of the reason the box office drop in that last weekend was a little more significant despite the theater count staying mostly the same is because it lost the premium theaters, the Dolbys and the IMAXs and the 4DXs and things like that, while they have to do it with Deadpool for a while. So getting it back, and it comes back August 30th, so towards the end of the month, it's going to do 1 week engagement, and we'll see. Maybe they'll get to add more if it does really well, but I've never experienced one of those movies, and I don't know how often. I wouldn't think movies come around very often where they really embrace the 4DX. And just with the amount of chasing, like car chasing stuff, I figure it's got to be a pretty bumpy movie ride.
Yeah. And that's a good one for it. Again,
Yeah.
go back to Deadpool and Wolverine, and as action-packed as that movie is, I feel like it would just be the equivalent of you put it in the Dolby because it's big and loud. You put it
Right.
in the 40X because it's got some car crashes and things like that, and it'll rumble for you and give you a nice experience. But Twisters and Twister, both of them, they've got so much going on with devastation and destruction that it's totally worth it.
Yeah, the wind. I think those things blow air on you and stuff, and I think you can turn it on where it like spritz you with water, like a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to go see it that way. So I'm definitely going to see how I can make that happen. Hopefully, I've seen it the regular way now. I saw it the Dolby way. Let's get on a rocket ship.
Duck and cover.
Exactly. Some other news that came out this week that I think is kind of interesting, but like, I hate talking about this guy. Vince Vaughn's opening his mouth again. He was on an episode of Hot Ones. Why is he on Hot Ones? What is he promoting? You don't even know.
No, I'm unsure, but he was also on the New York Times, the interview thing that they do. So he's got something going on, but I couldn't tell you what.
Yeah, couldn't begin to care. Longtime hater. But he kind of came into his own doing the like raunchy R-rated comedies of the early 2000s, your Wedding Crashers and things like that. And I guess in one of these interviews recently, it came up this like idea of what happened to those kind of movies. And he says that studios are basically overthinking it. They feel like it needs to be tied to IP, existing IP. He like dogs on the Battleship movie for some reason. which I mean, I'm sure it's terrible, but he was like Battleship, as that's not an R-rated anyway.
Yeah. That's an odd one to go after.
So that and then like
I don't think anybody's in love with Battleship.
I don't
I
think
think
so
it's
either.
it's just he's just like trying to pick out like he saw that movie come out and he was like, "What Battleship? Why?
Right.
Just make a movie."
They just wanted to
about
make a
ships.
Navy
You can do that.
movie.
They thought they needed the name Battleship, Hasbro's Battleship, in order to make that movie sell.
Right. So that and just the general risk averseness where he says producers or like these studios people just don't want to get fired, so they're just gonna do whatever is safe because then they can go, well, I made the Battleship movie and it didn't do well, so that's not my fault. I did what you said.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think about that?
I mean, I think it's probably
You don't even believe yourself.
It sounds mostly fair to me, but at the same time, if it was coming from someone other than Vince Vaughn, I feel like it would have more. It would feel like if it was Martin Scorsese saying it, people would be like, "Oh yeah, Martin's right." I think Vince is the wrong messenger for this particular message, but I can definitely see that being the case of a bunch of producers just thinking like, "Oh, that's just too risky. We can't risk it." So I could see that.
I agree with the sentiment. I mean, you do get nothing but like sequels. I mean, our podcast has its name for a purposeful reason. We put some thought into that because there are just so many, and it is just a lot of IP. But at the same time, we have proven that original movies right now don't draw as much as we want them to. People don't go see them. Go look at the first half of this box office. And honestly, right now I still think it's pretty familiar IP that is at the top of the box office draw list. So there is a problem there. And I do think that there is a lack of original comedies. I think that there needs to be more investment in some original comedies. And honestly, 90-minute comedies. 90-minute fun comedies that you can just go, shut your brain off and laugh at that are actually good. That aren't just like, again, kind of a formulaic, generic, could be anything kind of comedy. You know, I go back to when we were kids and we had Robin Williams and Tim Allen at his peak and Jim Carrey at his peak. And we had so many comedians who you could guarantee were a box office draw. And now we don't really have that. And so if he's trying to say that, then I don't disagree with him. If he's trying to say we need more stupid person, really dumb comedies like he was kind of doing that, again, I think there's a market for that too, because there aren't a ton of movies there. But I don't want those specifically to come back. But I do think that investing in good quality short comedies, I'd be on board with that.
Right, because the truth of the matter is, and you know how deep they go into it in that interview, but like there are raunchy R-rated comedies that come out now. I would argue that they don't look like Vince Vaughn movies because in a lot of times in recent years they are focused around female characters. You got Bottoms that came out recently. You got from Booksmart from a few years ago. This one wasn't real, but the Strays movie with the raunchy dogs. Like there's raunchy short comedies coming out all the time. They don't look like Vince Vaughn movies.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
I take him as seriously as I take his movies. Another movie I cannot take seriously at all, but that must be discussed on this show in some fashion, and I'm glad I found a way to sneak it in, is the flop fest that is Zachary Levi's next big adventure, Harold and the Purple Crayon. I immediately found my favorite headline, which was Harold and the Purple Crayon Review. Zachary Levi draws a bomb. It's rough.
That's clever.
He, had a opportunity to be a movie star, I think, for a while, and now I just feel very comfortable dogging on him. He's made a lot of weird choices movie-wise, but mostly movie-wise is what we're here to talk about. Because this movie, first of all, I had to be reminded what it was, because when it came on, or when I heard about it, I was like, I don't recognize it at all. Because then I was reminded it's a movie about a baby, or a book about a baby who draws with a magic crayon. And this is a grown man. Because something about Zachary Levi also prevents him from playing a grown man in a movie. He must play a child in a grown man's body at all times. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Although this plays into what Vince Vaughn was saying. They were like, hey, we want to make a kid's movie. Okay, we'll find a book that we haven't already adapted. And they're like, oh, Harold and the Purple Crayon. Okay, go with that. Cast an adult. We don't want to pay for... we don't want to worry about child labor laws.
So, seeing how badly it's done, and it's done badly in the opening weekend of the box office too, especially for a children's movie. I thought let's go down the Letterboxd rabbit hole and read some of our favorite reviews of Harold and the Purple Crayon.
I'm gonna look some up too.
I don't suspect any need for spoilers here. First of all, 1.5 stars. It's very easy to understand why kids might love a picture book about a curious 4-year-old whose purple crayon gives him the power to create anything he can draw, or anything he can think to draw. On the other hand, it's virtually impossible to understand why kids might enjoy a meta, live-action movie continuation of a classic story in which the little hero, now a swole 43-year-old man-boy played by Zachary Levi, escapes into the real world as part of a Barbie-like quest to meet his creator, and in the process fights to protect a worn-down widow from the romantic overtures of a frustrated librarian. That movie sounds awful.
This sounds very complicated.
1.5 stars, Bari for 6-year-old stoners who like metafiction and Zachary Levi's beefy arms. 0.5 star, this is part of Zachary Levi's mental breakdown after Shazam 2 flopped.
Right.
5 star, it just makes me want to shove a purple crown up my ass.
Here's one. 2 stars. That one SpongeBob episode.
Oh my god. Doodle Bob? It's Doodle Bob. I can't. I'm totally convinced that Harold with his purple crayon could beat Thanos even without the Avengers helping him.
Ooh.
A punch Zachary Levi so bad. 2 stars.
And here's one. 2 stars. It draws anything but a good movie.
Hey.
And 2.5 stars. We'll end it here.
What's the Letterboxd overall rating for this movie, please? It feels high. I'm gonna go like 1.9.
You should have stuck with your instincts. It is a 2.4.
Ah, dang.
Give it time though. Nobody saw it this weekend, so
That's true.
Yeah.
And
it has 3 fans.
And that's ironic.
I know. So we will not. That's the best we're going to get to covering Harold and the Purple Crayon. How has the box office been this week as the summer has finally started to lift off at the very end?
Well, still a big weekend.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's gonna be terrible, but it's gonna be great. Deadpool holds a $97 million this weekend. That's a huge second weekend. Only a 54% drop for Deadpool and Wolverine. Twisters comes in at number 2 with $22 million, followed by M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, starring Josh Hartnett. It is estimated to bring in 15.6. Despicable Me 4 brings in 11.2 for the number 4 spot, and Inside Out 2 is still in the top 5 after 52 days, I believe. With 6.7, beating Harold and Kumar, which came in with 6 million and the number 6. Oh, not Harold and Kumar. Harold and the Purple Kumar.
Not Harold and the Purple Kumar either.
Harold and the Purple Crayon. Some other ones to note: Long Legs in at number 7, and A Quiet Place Day 1 at number 9. Anyway, that's your box office this week. I'm very happy for. It's very fun to Inside Out 2. They gave it 100 days in theaters, and it's still in the top 5.
Amazing.
So that's great for Pixar.
Yeah, they should keep
it.
Is
Wolverine? Big hole.
Is it on Disney Plus yet?
It won't be for another 50-ish days.
Take a freaking lesson. We learn the wrong lessons all the time. Dear studios, here's what you learn. Longer theatrical releases. Less of a
especially
30-day
when
window
it's working.
that goes to your streaming because yes, people will go see them if you produce good movies in a theater that people get good word of mouth about. People will go see them. Just stop producing over-budget trash. Invest in quality movies.
I would say until a movie goes like 7 days maybe below without reaching like $1 million, then maybe that's when it's really over. To date, I looked this up the other day. To date, Inside Out 2 has less to drop below $1 million for a day. So that movie's still rocking and rolling. Now, not every movie's going to do that, Harold and Kumar, or that'll be out theaters very soon.
Take it out tomorrow.
Sorry, Kumar again. Harold and the Purple Crayon will be out of theaters very soon. I can promise you. I don't know who owns that, so I don't know where that'll end up.
Zachary Levi owns that.
You watch it live on Zachary Levi's laptop. Anyway. That's your wait, a quick update of the worldwide leaders for 2024. Inside Out 2 is still number 1 with 1.5 billion. Deadpool and Wolverine quickly catching up with 824. Despicable Me 4 is the number 3 movie of the year with 750. Dune 2 is still number 4 with 711 and 100 million, by the way. And then Godzilla X Kong is still the number 5 movie of the year with 567 million, which I forgot that movie came out this year.
Been a long year.
It really has.
Yeah. Speaking of being a long year, we're into a new month now. We're into our August month, and our theme for the month is Action August, which we talked about last week. Our first little kind of like special opener episode was Deadpool and Wolverine, very action-packed film. But now we're ready to tell you all the rest of our picks for the month. I think we're doing. Are we just doing our 3, or was there another one we're doing too? Are we doing a vote?
Just 3.
Just 3. Okay. So we're going to announce to you our Action August picks. The only real rule for this was it be an action movie in some way. So, David, since you can talk the least, why don't you tell us yours first?
Oh, mine is 4 4-time Academy Award nominee, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Best Picture nominee, I believe, as well. And this was starring Michelle Yeoh and many others. I wanted to do a martial arts film, and I thought, well, let's do the martial arts film that, at least for a while, was the highest grossing Chinese shot film in the United States. So I'm going with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, available on Max.
Garrett, reactions.
You know, I've actually never seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, so I'm very excited about it. I have watched more martial arts movies this year than I have in the last mini combined. And truthfully, that's like 2 Jackie Chan movies, so it's not much. But I'm really excited to watch this. I know it's really well regarded. I know that it's got really strong, well choreographed fight scenes, which I love, and so I'm quite excited.
Yeah, I can kind of remember seeing parts of it when I was younger, but I don't know that I ever have sat and watched all the way through. So that will be interesting to see. I've never really went big into martial arts movies at any point, so it's just not a genre I have a lot of knowledge on, so I'm excited to check it out. What is your pick going to be?
So for me, mine was not nominated for any Academy Awards, but it is on the National Film Preservation list. It is 1985's The Goonies, starring many of our favorite actors and actresses. You know, like that. For me, it's action adventure at its finest. So much fun and such a little nostalgic piece, and I think it'll be my first time really revisiting it as an adult. So really excited about that too.
I kind of sound like Sloth right now, so it's perfect.
Yeah, I'm excited about The Goonies too. That is a classic one. Definitely more familiar with that.
Kind of action adventure.
Action adventure, kids on the run. We got it going on so far. My pick is going to be from 1990. I'm going to do Speed. Starring Keanu Reeves.
Speed.
Dennis Hopper, Sandra Bullock, Jeff Daniels. About a runaway bus. It's going to be great.
Got a bomb on it.
Got a bomb on it. This is directed by DeBont, who also directed Twister, which we just did recently. So this will be interesting. We're not going to cover its sequel, but it is also got a sequel that's considered one of the worst sequels of all time. That's just a fun fact because I believe this movie is generally very well liked and its sequel is not.
Yeah, I think people thought it was a little silly, but also like the right kind of silly, fun silly.
It's been forever since I've watched it. I feel like it was like something that was on TV that my dad was watching or something. And I don't really have a lot of memories of revisiting it as an adult. It did actually win 2 Academy Awards for Best Sound Effects Editing and Best Sound. So keep your ears open during this movie. So I can't wait to dive back into it. We love Keanu Reeves. We love John Wick Jr. So
it
felt like the right pick.
I think so. I also haven't seen it since I have been a child, so very excited to see the return of Keanu and Sandra.
We're going to cover the whole spectrum here.
Exactly. That's what we're trying to do. So Action August will consist of, again, Deadpool and Wolverine, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, The Goonies, and Speed. Maybe not in that order, but that's what you can expect this month. That does it for us today. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and in your favorite podcasting app. Your support there really helps us out. On YouTube, come to think of it, we're actually shooting for a subscriber goal of 316, and we are at 305 right now. So getting there, getting very close. hit that subscribe button if you're watching. It helps us out a lot. If you want to get even more involved with us, you can go to our Patreon and subscribe there. You'll get Discord access where you can hang out and chat with us about movies there. Don't forget to follow us on social media. So Many Sequels Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Facebook. We would love to hear from you about the movies that we're planning to watch this month. Watch along with us. We want to hear your comments. Or tell us some of your favorite action movies. We can throw them in next time. So you can find all those also at somanysequels.com. Okay, that's it. That's all for today. We'll see you very soon with our review of The Goonies.